Hello everyone, and welcome back to the NONA studio for this latest edition of the NONA Sports Show. I'm your host as always, Edgar Rodriguez, pleased to be joined along Patrick Deleon, as per usual. We have lots of things to talk about.
Yes,
Very busy weekend just finished up for us here in Orlando. We had the USL Pathway Classic, a huge experience, not just for the boys, but for the club in general, to be, put together with some of the most legendary USL academies in the country. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about the West Florida Club Cup Challenge, where we had lots of winners out in Brandon as well. And then we'll talk European soccer. We'll talk just headlines in general, lots to catch up on. But we're going to start at the USL Pathway Classic, Patrick, a huge event, a huge tournament. We had 3 teams over there, and we have to start. Let's start youngest to oldest. Let's go with U14s first. Now, they had an incredible tournament. They couldn't reach the final, unfortunately. They played 3 games. The first 2, 1-4-1 against Wake.
Solid.
1-3-1 against Southern Soccer Academy, but then it came down to a game against Indy 11. Now, we had spoken about this, Patrick. Indy 11, one of the, top academies in the country, especially at these tournaments.
Yes.
They made it to the final in the elite bracket in all 3 age groups. So that tells you all you need to know. So it came down to a winner takes all, essentially. 3rd group match. We unfortunately dropped it 2-0. But again, I mean, if you're coming up against Indy 11, if you're coming up against this type of club, that's what you want. That's all you can ask for, to compete against those clubs.
Yeah, and I mean, Indy 11, they are a very notorious club within the USL landscape.
Absolutely.
Of course. They're, not to offend anybody living up in that part of the country, but it's like, what goes on over there?
Right.
So it's like, what better thing to do than play soccer, right?
Yeah.
So you have all these kids that just dedicate their time to that, right? And I mean, no, on a serious note, they have a very, very good setup for how they operate up there. I mean, their championship team has always been really solidly supported over the years. They have a great fan base. Academy players, we've seen a lot of academy players come up and, join different teams as well. But having the opportunity to play these kinds of clubs, it's always the vibe you want to go for.
Yes.
It's always the matchups you want. Even if it's hard and very, very, you can struggle sometimes. That's the only way you can really grow, right?
Absolutely.
And despite losing, to them in that final match, there's still a lot to look ahead for that group because, you win the first 2 in pretty convincing fashion. It's just a shame that only one can only advance, right?
That is how this tournament is.
It had to come down to it.
It is harsh. It doesn't really, reward all of the successful teams. Right. It only rewards the very best in the groups. And so, Coach Marcelo did a fantastic job. Again, beating MLS, facing MLS Next academies, beating them, but unfortunately coming up just short against Indy 11. We'll leave the best for last. Let's go to U20s now. Representing the U20s, right, was the 08 black team. They were playing a couple years up, playing against older guys, bigger guys than them, and still put out a good showing. Unfortunately, lacking in the final third. That's what hurt us in the end. But we played Houston FC for the first game. I already gave you the lowdown of how these games went. We had, maybe 25 shots. Just couldn't finish. We lost 1-0 there. Against Brooklyn Italians, we got a point. 1-1 draw, but again, just the final third, just lacking a little bit. And then against Fox Soccer Academy, owned by Christian Fuchs, Premier League champion. They were a solid team, losing out 2-0 there against them. But again, we had periods of domination. And, we're not even MLS Next yet. Of course, it's coming in next season. So this is just pure preparation for what's coming ahead.
Of course.
And, I mean, we didn't get battered. We didn't get embarrassed in any of these games, which is positive.
This is your first, I feel like, outing. I mean, not the first outing against these kinds of clubs, but it's a great introduction to what you'll face within MLS Next Play, which will have many other teams of the similar caliber, right?
Yeah.
So this is a great way to kind of get used to, these are how the games flow. We know what to expect. It's scouting work, essentially, right?
Pretty
Prep
much.
work, but of course, it's very hard in this, especially this tournament. So it's a very difficult tournament to go ahead and proceed into the final because, again, like we said, only one person, only one team out of the groups for each bracket can advance directly to the final.
So. Yeah. But we did have one finalist, which again is just a huge testament to competing at the highest level and being successful at the highest level. And that was our under-16s, also coached by Coach Bruno. Bruno had two teams, the under-20s and the under-16s, and they were balling out all weekend long. You'll see the results on your screen now. I mean, right from the get-go, 7 points from 9. They beat Tormenta 2-0. And honestly, when I tell you it was pure domination, it really was. Again, MLS Next opposition, 2-0, comfortable. Southern Soccer Academy, 3-1 win. So 6 from 6. You head into the third match already qualified for the final. They were already confirmed. So a 0-0 draw against Lexington. Only 1 goal conceded. 5 goals scored in the group stage. As a player, you're headed into a final on cloud 9.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, these results kind of speak for themselves, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they did what they needed to do.
Absolutely.
They saw it, they understood the mission, and they went for it.
Yeah.
So now we jump to the final, right?
Jump to the final. Indy 11 comes up again.
Of course.
It's just so difficult when you reach the final. We're going to talk about some goals, some of the best goals, and I think the final had probably the best finish in terms of like the stage and in terms of what it meant. One of the, I guess, match supervisors, you can call them, went up to me after the game and said that was the best match he saw all weekend. And I'm not surprised because it was just back to front action from the start till the finish. 1-1 after regulation time. Indy 11 ended up scoring first. And Angelito, the golazo, in off the post. We're 1-1, and we're taking Indy 11 to a final here, to extra time. In the end, Indy 11 had the best chances in extra time. Can't deny that. But then we go to penalties. And one of the, I guess, all-stars, one of the MVPs of this tournament has to have been Tomas in goal for that team. Unbelievable showing. Made crucial saves all throughout the weekend. And so, heading into penalties, you have a solid keeper playing his heart out. You kind of back yourself a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
He made 2 saves.
He did his part.
Absolutely. Could have easily been 3 saves. He got a hand on the third one. Yeah. Ended up going in. Indy 11 score 3-2. They win the final on penalties 3-2. But man, we've already solidified this. Indy 11, probably the best academy at the tournament, all the way to penalties. I mean, come on. Yeah. I mean, that's a job well done for everyone.
You have
involved.
To be proud of yourself. I mean, yes, it's a painful loss. Any final loss is gonna be painful, especially in PKs. Yep. But you have to think about it. They put them over. They dragged them to PKs. Yeah. Right? They didn't let them win in regulation. They didn't let them win in after extra time.
Yeah,
it only went down to PKs, and sometimes PKs is just luck. It's a bit of skill and it's a bit of luck. It's a mix of all of that combined. Indy 11 just managed to squeeze out a little bit in the end, but it's not a result that you should be disappointed with at all. Especially considering, just like you said, Indy 11, one of the best academies in this tournament. Yeah.
Under 14s, they beat Louisville City 2-1 in the final. Under 16, they beat us. And then under 20s, they beat Southern Soccer Academy 3-0. So they took home all of the elite trophies on the boys' side. Job well done to them as well. You can't deny that. We did, like I mentioned, also have a different tournament in the same city of Brandon, down by the Tampa Bay. And there we had lots of success. I mean, the screen is full with all of the teams that won out. 2008 Orange winning their final against Florida Elite 1-0. 2012 Black 3-2 against the same opposition. 2013 Orange beating the home team 1-0. And then Seoul's 2015 Black. I mean, they always seem to jump off of the page whenever we talk. 10-0 in the final, Patrick.
Is that even fun at that point? Like, oh yeah, you already.
For us, it is.
Yeah. No, you're right. I mean, all of these teams, huge weekend for all of these teams. A great weekend overall for, I would say, NONA soccer. So.
Absolutely, a hugely successful weekend, especially with the season kind of wrapping up almost. I didn't even mention Bruno's going to be going to California with his teams.
Oh yes, and of course.
Just this next weekend, we'll also have different teams there as well. But they're also going to represent NONA at the highest level again, back to back weekends, because of course we had Easter Cup not too long ago. So crazy end to the season. Once April and May hits, it's just complete craziness. We had some finalists as well at the West Florida Cup, 2009 orange and 2015 orange, making it to the final. Again, though, huge success. Lots of silverware to be taken home from that tournament. But that about wraps up everything NONA related. Of course, tryouts are coming up May 1st to May 4th. Before we end, though, let's take a look at some of the best goals that we saw at the USL Pathway Classic, because Patrick, some complete golazos. And first, from the U14s, a great finish from right outside the box.
Yes.
That was against Wake FC. So one of the first goals we saw this weekend.
Yeah, clean finish. That's all it's about. Placement.
Yep.
Placement.
Next up, against Southern Soccer Academy, U16s, from the free kick. I don't think it took a touch. It went all the way through.
No, it definitely took a touch.
Did it?
Yeah, I believe so. I'm not sure who hit it though.
Here we go.
Let's get some replay action on that.
Here we go. The free kick comes in.
Right. Oh, actually, you're right. You're right. No, when I was looking at it, it looked like it did. You're right.
Keeper got caught by surprise.
Yes,
Crazy finish there. We got some more U14s. Top corner.
Beautiful.
Keeper had no chance, Patrick.
No, that was nasty.
It really was.
Nice. Yeah. No.
Outside the box. We have another finish here. Quick counter. Slotted it home.
Placement is all. That's what I'm saying. That's like the number one thing I always say. All that matters when you're going for the goal, it's placement. Placement of the ball. Just put in a place where the keeper can do nothing about it. That's all you have to do.
We go to the final now. One of the best finishes of the whole weekend. Angelito for U16s. Keeping the final alive for us at this point. I mean, the angle was tight.
Wow.
It kisses the post on the way in.
Beautifully.
What a moment.
Yes.
What a moment. Even though we lost that final, still lots of great memories made at the USL Pathway Classic. But there, that is the end of segment 1. We're going to head to Europe now. Lots of big news to keep up with and to recap. So stay tuned just after this.
Turn your pool into paradise with Migaloo Pool Services. At Migaloo Pool Services, we know that your pool is much more than just a recreational space. Strategically situated to serve Lake Nona, St. Cloud, Kissimmee, and Orlando areas, we specialize in pool cleaning, equipment repairs, and pool remodeling, ensuring that your pool is always spotless and functional. We are proud to serve all NONA Soccer Academy customers with personalized discounts and services that adapt to their needs and schedules. Don't leave your pool on the back burner and get with Migaloo Pool Services today, so you can transform your pool into a true paradise. With Migaloo Pool Services, every dive will be an amazing experience.
And we're back for segment 2. Patrick's still alongside me. And like I said, lots of big games took place in Europe. Let's start at the FA Cup semi-final time. And we saw a surprising one into Saturday.
Yeah, we did.
Final. Palace 3-0 over
Villa.
Unai Emery's Villa.
I wasn't really expecting that result. I think we talked about this not too long ago. And I was like, I would expect Aston Villa to go through on this.
Same
just because... You know, the form they were in, Champions League, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, just quality-wise, Aston Villa, surely. Palace, Palace or Palace. What do they do, right?
I saw a video about Palace. They were like, it must be so difficult to be a Palace fan. Because
you don't go down.
No, exactly.
You don't compete for Europe.
And
you just sit mid-table.
Yeah, you're safe from relegation. It's like, what do you
do?
But this season...
They have something to look forward to.
Yes, they do. Ismail Assar with the brace. Eberechi Eze with another goal.
Eze, class player, yes.
They have quality in that team.
They do. I feel like they've always had quality. It's just a matter of,
showing for it.
Right? It's like, yes. You would think, the amount of times I feel like you hear their players, in the news, right? You're like, but surely they're at least playing for, Europa League, Conference League. No, they're just sitting in 12th or something like that, But, no, huge result against Aston Villa. And now they're going to go to Wembley again for the FA Cup final.
Yes.
It's huge.
Huge for Palace.
Yes.
I don't think they would have ever dreamt about this at the start of the season. The commentators were saying how this year in the FA Cup, we've seen things that shouldn't happen.
Yeah.
Crystal Palace should not be in the final.
Should not be there.
A semi-final should not really be Palace Villa.
Right.
But it happened, and Palace, showed out.
That's what we love about it, don't we? Yep. That's what we love about the FA Cup.
With Villa, you can kind of point back to the Champions League exit. We talked about it for Atletico, how big of a blow it was. We'll talk about how big of a blow it was for Real Madrid. But for Villa, to go out after winning the second leg against PSG, it leaves a dent in your season that it's hard to shake off.
Of course, especially because like that was their first real major European experience, Champions League nonetheless.
Yeah,
so, to kind of come back down to earth a little bit, like okay, that's over. Try to refocus, regroup for the rest of the season, and then you go ahead and lose. To Crystal Palace 3-0 in the FA Cup semis. It makes it a little bit worse.
Yeah,
absolutely, it's hard.
It really does, but Palace will face a very familiar opposition in FA Cup semifinals and finals. They always seem to be in and around it. Manchester City took down Nottingham Forest.
Now I was hoping Forest would go through.
I think we all were.
What a final would have been, right?
Oh my goodness! And talk about shouldn't happen.
Right.
But City in the Enrico Lewis second-minute goal, Josko Gvardiol on the score sheet once again to send City through 2-0. I think, yes, okay. On paper, maybe this season is surprising. I mean, City have been very lackluster this season. Pep Guardiola came out after the game saying that this would not save City's season, and I think he's fully
because this is really the bare minimum.
It really is, yeah.
This is the bare minimum. I mean, we've just looked at how their season has unfolded over the year, and it's just like, wow, this is the City that we've watched, over the last couple of years. I mean, they're struggling to fight for Champions League. They're struggling. We see them hovering around that Europa League final Champions League spot, and we just see a top 3. It's crowded.
Yeah.
Realistic, can they make it? To Champions League next year?
It's going to be tough, man.
They're in such a weird spot, a very, very strange spot. And, I mean, we know, I guess, the reasons why. I feel like we've finally seen kind of a bit of a decline for City. Yeah. It's nothing too unusual, right? But this is, again, kind of the bare minimum. Guardiola is right, I would say. This is not enough to necessarily save the season.
Yeah.
What really mattered was, of course, going far in Champions League.
Which they couldn't.
Which they couldn't.
Yeah.
They crashed out pretty early. Premier League just
have never been in the race this year.
No, not at all. Not 1 second. I mean, players completely ghosting this year, honestly. You look at Phil Foden at the beginning of the year, even till now, honestly. We were like, wow, what happened to him?
What happened?
Just completely invisible, guys aging, of course, injuries, now you've had to rely on younger players or new signings to kind of help come in, even though they have to have time to incorporate themselves into the squad. It's a really weird situation.
It is. You talk about someone like Omar Marmoush, who's gone in there, done great.
Yeah.
I think he's still like second in Bundesliga.
Yeah, and he hasn't been there since January.
Which is ridiculous.
Yes.
Has made an instant impact. But then you lose someone like Haaland, who, of course, hasn't lived up to his lofty standards this season, but still he's important to the team.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So, I mean, like you said, though, it had to be this year, right? City could not continue in the form that they have been on. 4 straight Premier Leagues. They won the Champions League.
It was bound to happen.
It had to.
It was bound to happen. But I think we all expected this maybe it'd be a little bit more closer than it should have.
Sure. I think that's safe to say. They are fighting it out with Newcastle and Chelsea for that 5th Champions League spot. Of course, it's going to be top 5 in the Champions League. Yeah. So, do we see a situation where Forest, by the way, where Forest edged them out, where Chelsea edged them out?
I'd love to see Forest. They have to do it.
Right? I mean, they have dropped out. They are now behind Chelsea on goal difference.
Yes.
You would have to back Forest, though, in Premier League. They beat Tottenham last time out. Yeah. Chelsea, you never really know what to expect with them. They beat Everton. But, man, these last 4 games are going to be incredible to see who...
all to play for, honestly.
Yeah, it really is.
Even though the title race is done, you still have a crazy Champions League race. European competition.
Absolutely. We'll get to the title, unfortunately, in a little bit. Let's go to Spain, where the Copa del Rey Final stole all of the headlines.
Oh, yes.
Even before.
Yeah, all the drama building up to this was insane.
Crazy, right? Kind of unheard of, kind of unprecedented, really. Florentino Perez came out before the game and said, I want to change the refs.
How does that look on you?
What did he think the reaction was going to be to that?
My question is actually, because I am a little bit uninformed here, what was the whole dilemma with the refs beforehand? Because I could never find a piece for whatever reason. I was like, I don't really understand what's going on with the referee.
It's not even just one
Right.
single moment.
Is it just the course of the season that they're complaining about?
Of the season.
And is it just history with the ref?
It really has. It really has.
Whatever,
the
man.
The same ref who officiated this match had a press conference, was crying during the press conference. Just an outpour of emotion because of the abuse that they've received.
Okay.
Partially from the Real Madrid club as a whole, just undermining the refs all season long. And then to have this happen before a final.
It just puts more, I think, unnecessary pressure.
It really does.
Honestly, all sides.
It does.
Oddly enough. Especially the refs. Because now it's like, could it be like a scare tactic?
Absolutely was.
Absolutely was.
Absolutely was.
Now it's like, put the pressure on the refs. Like, we want to change them because they're not blah, 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 whatever. Now the refs are probably in the back of their minds like, oh my gosh, like...
Can't make a wrong decision.
It doesn't matter. Here's the thing. As a referee, it doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter what, and I mean that. It doesn't matter what kind of decision you make. There's always gonna be a challenge against it. It doesn't matter what.
Mm-hmm. Doesn't matter if it's right or wrong.
Doesn't matter. No, it doesn't matter. There's always gonna be somebody arguing it. So as long, there's not much a referee can really do in that situation. You just have to do your job.
Do your job. They did. I'm happy the Spanish Federation,
they're held by the ground.
Absolutely.
Because you can only imagine the uproar if they had actually gone out and changed. Because you have to think about it this way: these are rewards for the referees as well. To officiate these finals. That's the highlights of their season as well. That's clearly, that's what they get rewarded
100%.
with. So, imagine being taken off that just because, they were complaining about you. That's not fair to the referees.
It's not. It's not. Thankfully, the game lived up to all of the hype, though. Barcelona opening the scoring end of the first half, Real Madrid were out. They were not even competing. Barcelona wiped the floor with Real Madrid. I think that's safe to say. But then a 2-1 comeback. Real Madrid held a lead in this game. They came back in the second half, showed a bit more of what they're made of. A late equalizer, though, and we had extra time in the Copa Del Rey Final, and it went down to the last few minutes. Jules Koundé.
What a strike. Ooh.
I know, right? It was such a random player.
Out of nowhere, the ball bouncing around, lays, comes out of near the edge of the box, and then he just comes in, boom, strikes it.
Golazo.
Beautiful.
Golazo. And Barca win.
Yeah.
The Copa del Rey Final. Hansi Flick is 7 out of 7 in finals managed.
I don't even think that's luck. That's just pure skill. Pure talent in the final. He knows how to handle the pressure.
Oh, my
goodness. And look, this Barcelona's team this year, different beast that we've seen from years past.
Yes, it is.
We saw inklings of it, I think, last year, but this year has been the full version of this Barcelona side that we're like, this is like legit. So, Copa del Rey.
Yep.
Likely going to be La Liga.
Yeah. I think that's
favorites for Champions League.
Yep.
They're on track for having an amazing year.
An incredible year.
And then let's look at Real Madrid.
Oof. Ancelotti out. I think it's all but confirmed at this point.
And then here's my thing. Let's go back 10 years, right? You look at, when Madrid still had Ronaldo, prime Ronaldo, prime Cruz, prime Modric, prime Ramos.
Yep.
This whole, just 2010s Madrid, right? Yeah, there was always drama around them as well. There was always drama, right? That's without a doubt.
Yep.
But have we ever seen it to an extent of this year with this current Madrid side?
I don't think so.
Because you look at all these personalities, Vinicius, Bellingham, Mbappe, Rodrigo, the president of the club.
Yeah.
Even though he's been there for a while, but it's like, you get to that point, Ancelotti. Have we ever seen so much drama from a Real Madrid side than this year? Or even, the last couple years.
In recent history,
especially this year. It feels like every week there's something going on.
Yeah.
And isn't that surely that has to be affecting them on the field as a result?
I think
they're
that's clear to see.
Putting so much, I think, unnecessarily just drama and pressure on the matchups that they're just not performing.
Yep.
I think other teams see this and like, we hate these guys just because of how they're acting. We're gonna shut them up.
Yeah.
And look what happens. And now they have another El Clasico coming up around the corner.
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
And don't be surprised if they drop that one too.
Barca
they
lose
just
that
inevitable.
one, they lose the league.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So something's got to give here. I think there's a real culture issue in the locker room. Very talented players, but is it kind of something we see similar? On the field, product wise, is it something we see similar to PSG when it had all these star players, right? But I think this is somehow this could potentially come into something worse if they don't get a grasp. You know what
I think so. We have to talk about the end of the game.
Yes. Oh yeah. How many red cards were given? 3?
3 red cards at the end. Antonio Rudiger, what are you doing, man? What are you doing?
He's literally throwing this game.
And it's
oh my gosh.
It's ridiculous to see that.
Yeah.
I mean, not just for Rudiger, but the whole bench, the way they reacted, it's embarrassing. It really is.
It is, but it's also something that it's also something that maybe this is kind of like I'm on the fence about it because all right, they're a professional. There's so many better ways to handle it.
No, of course.
But at the same time, I like this kind of stuff in rivalry matches because it adds plot, it adds fuel, it adds lore, right? Sure. It's just another chapter, right? Mm-hmm. But to an extent, right? Of course,
he crossed the line.
This was just crossed the line. This was just Real Madrid peak crying, right? And I like Real Madrid, I really do. But it's just this is not how you behave, especially at the end of the match. Come on, man. It was. You're making yourselves look worse. It's so much worse.
You protest the decision. Do that.
Fine.
But then to chuck I think it was a thing of tape. Okay. I think.
You can't do that.
Then have to be held back by multiple staff members. What was he going to do? What was he going to do? Attack the ref? What is the point of this? And like I said, I found it honestly embarrassing on Real Madrid's part.
It is. It is. And it just gives everybody else more reason to dislike them. More reason to trash on them.
It really does.
And then you look at the fan base. I mean, I don't know. They were a very strange team this year. We saw how they were in Champions League, not the Real Madrid we were used to seeing. La Liga, they've let the title slip away, I think. It was always a close race, but I think now more than ever it's okay, they're not in it. I think mentally they're half checked out, I think.
Yeah.
Same
with City. I think we've seen the same with City. We thought this title race was going to go to the wire.
No,
but then it kind of started with their loss against Valencia before the Arsenal Champions League matchup.
Since then, they've kind of been on a slow decline. It has. And I don't think they have enough to climb back.
And it kind of exploded in this match. Like you said, another El Clasico coming up. I would not put my money anywhere near Real Madrid getting something out of that game.
There's no way.
It's crazy. Yeah. Pedri, Ferran Torres, and Koundé, at the end of the day, alongside Flick and the rest of that incredible team this year, getting the job done.
This is why domestic cup finals should be played in their countries, not Saudi Arabia.
There you go.
Because you get, you have the fans that can truly celebrate and be a part of this, right? Again, nothing against necessarily playing games in Saudi Arabia, but a cup final, come on, it has to be in your country.
Yep.
So
and they brought it back.
I'm glad we saw it play in Sevilla.
Yes.
That's how it should be. That's how it should have always been.
Yep.
For any tournament.
Great point. So. Absolutely great point. Barcelona, once again, Copa del Rey champions.
Of course.
They'll probably be La Liga champions, and then Champions League, we'll see what will happen. We will see what will happen. We're going to talk about that matchup in a little bit and everything going on there with their opposition. Let's go to the Premier League, though. Because talk about, maybe champions. No, Liverpool are been confirmed.
Decided months ago.
Yeah.
And they solidify that, really.
Yes, they did.
Against Tottenham.
5-1 win at Anfield. Did we expect anything different? I didn't.
No.
I didn't. Maybe not 5-1, but I expected a win.
A win.
Their first league title since 2019-20 in front of an empty Anfield there. Now they had their 60,000.
Proper
yes,
celebration.
They did. Yes, they did. I mean, Salah came out after the match, said it was better than 2019-20 because they didn't have Mane, they didn't have Klopp, they didn't have Firmino. And I think he has a point. Yeah. I mean, this Liverpool team, so much changed, at least.
Over the years, yes.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So much changed, at least at the coaching level. The team was relatively the same from last season. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, who would have expected Arne Slot to go in there?
First year, total domination.
Incredible.
Total domination.
Totally deserved by Liverpool.
Yeah.
One loss the whole Premier League season.
No, I'm not mad at all that they're champions. And usually I'm like, I hope they don't win this year. No, they've been so good in the Prem this year. You can't hate. Yeah. Come on. That's class. Arne Slot has come in the job, taken it, and made it his own. Now, sure, you could look at Champions League, whatever, the other domestic cups. Sure, I understand. It would have been a lot nicer.
Yes.
Considering the form they were in in the Prem. I understand that. But, I mean, either way, Premier League, nobody had any real had a chance. Nobody had a chance to compete. No. And Liverpool took it.
They ran away with it.
Yes, they did.
I think, yes, some things fell into place for them. City not challenging at the sharp end. United, Tottenham themselves not fighting there.
You still got to take your chances.
Absolutely. Arsenal have been hit with a bunch of injuries all year long. Not an excuse, just the truth. I see your smile. It's the truth. It was partially our own doing. Yes. Drawing like 13 matches this Premier League season.
Yeah, but I think honestly this is just one of those years where even if Arsenal were on top, I just think Liverpool were too good.
I agree.
You know?
I agree.
Respectfully, yeah.
Yeah, I agree. But yeah, Liverpool fully deserved, like you said, Champions League, they fell short. Carabao Cup, they fell short.
Yeah.
FA Cup, they fell short because they lost against Plymouth.
Who, by the way, just got relegated.
Yeah.
So it's like
it's crazy.
You know, it's so weird the dynamic of the season as well.
It's
been a really strange season. I feel like for a lot of teams,
it has.
You have so many weird, things happening in the same season. It's like what is going on? You don't know where they stand at necessarily.
I agree. Yeah. But hey, for Liverpool fans, I think. If you ask a Liverpool fan what's more important, I think they saved the Premier League. It just means so much to them, especially after having such a drought before Klopp, and then winning it again within a relatively short period of time with Slot. Wow, what a dreamy scene at Anfield afterwards. The celebrations were incredible, and then of course chuck in a Salah contract extension, a Van Dijk staying as well. They're in dreamland. Yes, they really are. Now they can celebrate the rest of the season. But overall, fully deserved by Liverpool this time around. We just had to put this in. Harry Kane. Now, Bayern won out this past weekend. So did Leverkusen. So they delayed Bayern's party. But Kane got a 5th yellow. His 5th of the season. Which means that he will not be able to play
the next match
away at Leipzig. Which if they win... Bayern will be crowned champions. What is up with Kane and his bad luck, seemingly? Yes, he helped Bayern win the league this year. Of course. Sure. But he's not going to be a part of it.
That's like the whole point.
Yes.
You want to be there.
You want to be there to clinch
suited up, ready to play.
My gosh, man.
That's just unlucky.
Take him out of Tottenham, can't take the Tottenham out of him. I've said it all along.
What can you do? You're just cursed a little bit.
It's crazy.
For a guy with his skill, too. It's just like, man, you would think he'd have so much more, right?
Yeah.
Or just have, I don't know. This is just funny. This is just funny. Like, he'll still, of course, be a Bundesliga champion.
Yeah.
But it's just like, not to even potentially not be there next match. It's like,
it's unreal.
Man.
Honestly, it really is. And hey, away at Leipzig, they've had a poor season in the Bundesliga relatively, but never know. You never know when Bayern and Leipzig play. We'll have to see what happens on the pitch. But that about wraps up our main European headlines. There's still so much to catch up on in the world of football. MLS. Super Classico. You were very happy about that result. And also we'll go back to Europe because we missed out on it a little bit. So stay tuned for the last part of the show after this.
Something new, something fresh. Yeah, I'm super obsessed. Let me know when you done messing. A little that, a little this. Then you put it to the test. It's all in the expression. It's a mood, it's a vibe, it's a state of mind. And now I want it more. It's a mood, it's a vibe, it's a state of mind. Okay, you got the floor. It's looking good. What kind of like that? What kind of really like that? It's looking good. What kind of like that? Come on, let's see some more. It's looking good. Keep it going, get it right. Not a trouble inside. You can't argue with perfection. Ooh, you working something up with a little bit of luck.
All right. We had a little bit of a fun little in-between there. So much fun is coming up this summer, yes, Patrick. We still got to keep some things under the wraps, but hey, it's going to be a fun summer.
Great. Yeah,
I hope you're ready.
It is. I'm ready.
I hope you're ready. But we still have so much to keep up with in the world of football. Your River Plate played the Super Classico at El Monumental this weekend. Ma stantuono. You told me he's 17 years old?
17 years old. What, a free kick from what, like 30?
35? He took a page out of Rice's notebook there.
Yes. Oh my! What a free kick
to
open the scoring. It just
what a beautiful moment.
And it's like in the middle of the net too. Like he's
central.
The placement. He's central. It can be difficult.
It could not be more difficult. I would argue that.
Left footer. Okay, you would think maybe top left, right?
Oh my gosh.
He hits it, goes up, and it dips into the top right corner. No keepers reaching it.
No.
Oh my God,
and
the place just explodes. How I wish I could be there.
Oh my goodness.
How I wish I could be there.
Oh my goodness. That is on a bucket list moment right there.
Boca, about 10, 15 minutes later,
Medellín with the equalizer. Yes. But then a familiar name.
Sebastian Driussi, former Austin FC man, just before the half. He has the ball coming in from like a cross.
Okay.
Heads it into the keeper. Keeper saves it, but off the rebound, slots it home.
Oh, he parried it. Wow.
Off the rebound, slots it home. That's all you need. Goal's a goal, 2-1. River Plate take the win in Argentina.
In one of, I was going to say biggest game in South America. Mm-hmm. Brazilian fans might debate
it's definitely
it's super classico.
It's a matchup that's up there in terms of all rivalries across the globe. Yes. It's one that has to be spoken about. I mean, this match also had, I think, the highest attended Super Classico as well.
Over 80,000?
Over 85,000.
85.
Imagine that. 85,000 in one building. That's unreal.
I mean, absolutely unreal. We talk about, the not just the occasion, but for those fans, I mean, that's everything. That is everything.
You can have a crap season, but just beat Boca or vice versa.
It's a final. It's a final in and of itself. Yeah. There's been great content coming out from that free kick goal. I mean, the noise.
Yeah, the noise.
This is deafening.
It is. So, just like you said, took a page right out of Rice's. He saw that. He's like, I can do that.
You're welcome.
So thank you. Indirect thank you. But yeah, River Plate dominating in that first half. That's all it took.
Both 2-1. Of these teams having good starts this season as well.
Of course. So it's a fresh new season for Argentina. So this is a huge result.
15th match week. So still lots to play in the Argentinian league. The way that it's formatted is crazy. I think we could spend a whole show explaining.
There's so many different leagues that are just structured. We need a whole segment discussing how do they work.
Coming up next on the NONA Sports Show, we're gonna find the most random leagues.
The River Plate, yes.
River Plate, well done.
Great 3 points.
You were happy this weekend because Orlando City
also won against Atlanta. Another rivalry match here.
My goodness.
3-0. Luis Muriel with a penalty just before halftime.
Okay.
A bit of a rough half. I mean, there was definitely showings within the first couple minutes. Mm-hmm. Chances didn't get put away. That's fine. Iffy, honestly, PK call in favor of Orlando. I will take it.
You won't complain.
I won't complain. Muriel puts it home easily. Guzan, nothing about it. Mm-hmm. Go into the second half. Orlando City. Alex Freeman. Man. But we have to talk about the build-up a little bit. Muriel to Pasalic. Pasalic to Freeman. Freeman just powers it home. Far post. Guzan can do nothing. He's planted in the ground. Freeman has been unreal.
Good.
He's been unreal.
He's so good.
I don't think he stays in Orlando for more than 2 years. I think by the end of next year he's gone.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You're Lewis Skelly.
Yeah. I think by the end of next year he's gone.
He has on him, huh?
He has the physicality. He's just all over. Like you watch him.
Monster.
He's a right back.
Yeah.
But he's up top like every attack. He's up there and he scores.
He's so hungry.
Or he assists.
He's so hungry.
That's the drive that you want to see for any player. Unreal talent. Yep. The way he's just gone into this season. He came in as a sub in that 4-2 loss, that opening game against Philadelphia. He came in as a sub. But within those 20, 30 minutes he played, you could already tell, oh, no, he's legit. He's the real deal. He earned
himself a starting spot for the next game.
After that, he's been starting.
And you can't take him out.
He's benched Thorhalson. And I like Thorhalson. But, man, you can't fit Thorhalson anywhere because Freeman has to be on the field.
I wouldn't be surprised if he's one of the first 3 names on Pareja's score on his team sheet.
He has to be. Because,
I wouldn't be surprised.
And I've never felt so much confidence in such a young player coming up through the academy, through the B team as well. It's like, oh yeah, he has to be, because there's always been so many other players with potential, right, that I've seen come through Orlando City, but none have necessarily struck me as early and as convincingly
I think that's safe to say,
as Freeman.
Yep.
So that's that in its own. He had an amazing game. Then Marco Pasalic also all over the field first and second half. He was looking for that shot. You know, he couldn't find an opening. He has a certain look when he's looking for that left foot to hit it.
The near post
finish. We've seen it so many times already this year.
Yeah.
He just couldn't find it, so he has to lay it off to somebody else. Second half, that chance comes in. Guzan lays it off to one of his defenders. Defender just clears it because they were under pressure.
Yeah.
Ball wins to Pasalic. He has all the time and space in the world, and that's the last thing you want to do. And he sees that. Oh, he lines up the shot, nails it. Not to the far post, but near post, which I wasn't really expecting that.
Yeah.
I think Guzan was expecting it to go far post, but even still, planted. He can't do his old bones. They're gonna break if he moves. Pasalic just fires it into that post, and 3-0 lead. Atlanta can't do anything. Miguel Almiron, he was the only bright spot on the field for him. You just see how he moves. He's so quick. He's so decisive. He knows what he wants to do, but he doesn't have that.
Does anybody to complement?
And it's surprising because on paper this is an Atlanta squad that I think really should be up there. I don't know what it is that's necessarily wrong. Like Miranchuk, I don't know if he's just being misplayed. He has a talent, but I don't know if he's just being
came from Atalanta.
Yeah, I don't know if he's just being utilized in the wrong way.
Yeah.
Lobjanidze, their number 9. I mean, he's great on the wing, but it doesn't feel like he has anybody that can help him connect that midfield to the offense.
Yeah.
And I mean, Guzan being Guzan in that, it's weird. Like the only time I've ever liked him was last year in the playoffs against Miami.
He's always there.
He had a great
forever.
But it's like this is such a weird Atlanta squad that at the beginning of the season I gave them praise. Shout out to our HDFC episode when we went into downtown. I was like, Atlanta, they can be a real contender this year. They have not shown that at all. And Miguel Almiron coming back to Atlanta, right?
Yep.
This is not the Atlanta squad he's used to from 2017, 2018.
Not at all.
Which was like that they were the class of MLS at the time. I mean, Joseph Martinez, Villalba, Gonzalez Perez, who plays for River Plate now, who I hate, but that was the team. Darlington Nagby in midfield.
Goodness.
Every player in every position, unreal. Perfect for that Atlanta squad. Sure, they didn't necessarily win anything that first year. Second year, MLS Cup. Year after, they had still a great season. Almost made it back to MLS Cup. Still won a couple of trophies. And then from there, we've just seen a decline. Yeah. Ever since Joseph Martinez tore his ACL in 2020.
That was the moment.
I think that was almost like where everything went downhill. Players leaving. Yeah. Martinez never coming back to full form. He's left. And then now they've been in this weird rebuild for 4 or 5 years.
And they're kind of nowhere right now.
And Orlando, they've seen that. They've taken advantage of it. They've been on the winning end of this rivalry since then. And, man, huge win.
What a moment. So then you told me you were walking out of the stadium. You look at the other MLS scores and you see...
And I see an interesting result. I'm walking out and I'm just catching up. And I see Nashville, Chicago. Halftime.
Yeah.
5-0.
Jeez.
Halftime.
Oh, my God.
So Nashville, led by B.J. Callahan, who was the interim coach for the USMNT.
That's right.
This is his first real club gig with Nashville. And Nashville having a pretty good season. I think this is technically their best start to an MLS season.
Okay.
Because their first season, they did make playoffs, but it was a bit rough. So they made it through the play-in rounds. But they've made playoffs since. Last year was a really rough year. The year before as well. But this is a Nashville side we're used to seeing kind of come back to life. Sam Surge with 4 goals.
Jeez,
Mukhtar having another great day. Mukhtar doing what he does best.
One of the best 10s in the league?
Yes, I mean, absolutely.
He solidified himself.
Yeah, of course. I mean, even the first couple of years of Nashville, before they had a bit of a decline, he had to have been in the conference. He's an MVP for a reason. Nashville dominating 7-2 against Greg Berhalter's Chicago Fire. And like I told you before we started recording, Chicago, I mean, it doesn't matter who you put in coach. It doesn't matter who you bring.
They are nowhere.
They've been so bad for so long. They haven't done anything. They haven't won anything since '98. what can you do? It's changed the culture, the mindset. Like, oh, we can do something.
Here's a plan.
And this is the crazy part. This Chicago team is one of the better Chicago teams I've seen in recent years.
Here's a plan.
And they're still mid.
Get out of Soldier Field.
But then where do you go? Because they left their previous stadium to go into Soldier Field because nobody wanted to drive out because they weren't in Chicago. No, nobody wanted to drive out there. Okay, go to Soldier Field.
I think they have to take the route.
And here's the thing. It's not necessarily they have bad attendance in Chicago Field either. It's just such a big stadium. It looks empty. That's the point. That's the issue.
That's the point.
That's the one big... Same with, like, if you want to talk about big stadiums, the Revs in New England.
Sure. Oh, that's even worse, I think.
They pull, like, 20K, which is not bad at all for MLS standards.
But on the eye.
It's such a cavernous stadium.
It's terrible.
They're not Seattle. They're not Atlanta.
No.
They're not Charlotte. That I can at least make it look appealing.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, Bank of America, huge place. But I think they have to go down the route of a Nashville, of a Cincy, of a Columbus.
Yeah, they have to.
Austin.
Surely have to make their own.
It works.
It works.
These little smaller 20,000.
New York City found space to do it in New York, so can Chicago in Chicago.
Exactly.
Exactly. Even though it's taken New York City well over a decade to finally get to that point, and we're still a couple years out from seeing the stadium. They've at least broken ground.
They've broken ground,
huge.
And it's coming.
It's coming. And they will fill that place up because nobody wants to go to a baseball stadium. I don't want to go to New York to watch an away game at Yankee Stadium, but I will for their new stadium, if that makes sense.
Absolutely, yeah. No.
So, what a win. I mean, 7-2. That is one of the biggest wins I've seen in a long time in MLS.
7-2 is crazy. Of course, Greg Berhalter going to Chicago, and I mean, my guy. Let's leave that there. 7-2 is rough, and we're gonna have to see how they bounce back from
as well for a good weekend. The Pride winning 3-2 against Angel City.
2-0 down.
So great weekend for all my teams. Dortmund winning against Hoffenheim.
You are a happy man.
No complaints. No complaints.
Inter Miami losing?
Inter Miami losing midweek to Vancouver, then blowing a 3-1 lead to Dallas. 3-1 lead to Dallas.
Wow.
I'm loving life.
You're loving life.
Let's go back to Europe though.
Yes, let's do that. Cesc Fabregas, someone very near and dear to Arsenal.
Yes.
He's keeping Como up.
Yeah.
Now, I was telling you how I wasn't even aware of the fact that when he first went in there, it was on an interim basis. I knew that. But he didn't have his UEFA Pro license.
He was only eligible for a month.
He had a 1 month limit. They bring someone else in. He remains as assistant. Both of them bring Como up. Got promoted to Serie A for the first time in God knows how long. And then becomes permanent manager. Has had an incredible season. Brought in, big name players like a Nico Paz, for example.
Yes.
And I mean, they're safe in Serie A. And to do that with such a smaller club like Como, a more traditional club like Como is an incredible achievement for Cesc Fabregas.
Yeah, and I mean this is huge. Huge. They survive for another year, more money, right? They can rebuild even further.
They can go again.
They can go again. Sure, I'm not saying they're going to make Champions League next year. No. But I think they'll have a bit of a more comfortable season next year.
Absolutely.
Potentially, maybe mid-table improvement. They want to get away from relegation.
Yes.
That's the whole goal, right? And then, man, what a story!
It's incredible.
This is a great story. I mean, and I've always liked Cesc Fabregas as well.
Always.
I even during his time at Barcelona, I liked him there. I did. I really did.
The Chelsea move for me makes it hard to like him.
That was an interesting move.
Yeah.
Especially you as an Arsenal man, of course.
But look, I think, honestly, he might be like a next Xabi Alonso.
He's kind of that archetype, right? He's that species of
He might be the next one to make a big move.
He could be. Yeah, a couple, maybe another 2-3 good years at Como.
Continue doing this at Como, man? Hey,
yeah, he
keep
could
it on.
Definitely be ahead of a bigger project. And also, Como, I know we've talked about this before, but it's like, I love their...
special, man.
Yeah.
What a great club.
Yeah, and their stadium location. I love
right on the river.
It's beautiful. What a beautiful, why wouldn't you want to play football?
My goodness.
I would love to. That's like a beautiful, beautiful area.
Yes.
I would love to.
Yes.
But yeah, Como doing some very special things over in Italy, for sure.
Great kits as well.
Yeah.
Love their kits.
I like them. I do. A lot of people didn't. I like them.
We're Como fans here on the NONA Sports Show, and rightfully so, because they are doing things right over there. Let's stay in Italy, though, because a surprising turn of events for Internazionale de Milano. They've lost 3 in a row.
And now they're losing the title race. They're
goodness.
They're 3 behind against Napoli.
Napoli have it in their hands now. We thought Inter were going to win the Scudetto. Hey, can't say that for sure now. What a terrible run of form at the worst possible time because Barcelona is waiting for them.
Yeah. This might, just like you said, there are parts of the season that put dents in them. 3 losses in a row, no goals scored.
Wow.
This could be that right now.
It could.
Especially against Barcelona, who are firing on all cylinders.
The complete opposite.
That's the last thing. My confidence in Inter has gone down severely now.
And I had said 51-49 when we talked about percentages.
I would say
you said 60-40, and I'm way with you now.
I think it's honestly more than that.
Yeah,
I think it's probably closer to 70-30, 65-30.
It might be.
Barcelona, they're too strong, and I think right now this is not the mindset that these Inter players want to come into, like, oh, we've just lost 3 in a row. Yeah. How are we going to regroup? And we have Barcelona, who they know are just such a insanely hard team to play against. This is going to be very interesting to see how the rest of their season plays out now, because now Serie A doesn't look so easy anymore.
No, it doesn't. They're 3 points behind Napoli. Maybe they come alive in the Champions League. Who knows? But coming into that game, it's going to be very difficult for them. Let's go back to England now, Patrick, because Wrexham, mean, ran by Hollywood superstars Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney. My goodness, they're up for a third straight year.
They've taken them from National League to Championship. They're in Championship now. They've secured that back-to-back promotions. That's never happened before.
In the top 5 leagues of England, never has happened. Talk about new stadiums. They have one on the way as well.
They have to, because, the demand is insane. They're going to want to get all of the support that they can get, for sure.
Absolutely.
But here's the interesting question.
Yes.
2, actually. I'm going to present you with 2.
Okay.
First one we've talked about already. Do they get promoted immediately to the Premier League? Probably not.
No.
I don't think so.
No.
How long do you see them realistically staying in Championship before they can make that move?
It's interesting because their manager came out and said, we're not signing any superstars. We're not signing any big egos. We're going to continue on the path that has brought us this success. I can say within 5 years, I expect them to maybe not be in the Premier League, but at least be in the promotion fight.
I think they'll be in the promotion fight.
Yeah.
I just don't know if they'll get promoted automatically.
Yeah.
Definitely not this year, this upcoming season.
I think 3 to 5 years.
3 to 5 years,
we can see them fighting for the Premier League and potentially in it.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Because the Championship, it's a gauntlet. It's brutal down there.
Yeah.
So is League 1, League 2, but Championship is another level of brutal.
Yeah.
Because it's such a weird mix of, players that go up, teams that go up, they come down, but they dominate when they come back down. So it's not a lot of space at the top already.
No, there is not.
And you have so many other teams that are close together. There's so many teams and so many games.
Yes.
And you're playing for the playoff spots. It's a whole gauntlet.
Yeah,
and you have to balance your domestic tournaments as well. It's a gauntlet of just games. It's brutal. It's rough. So I think this first year, Wrexham are going to struggle a little bit.
Yep.
Kind of come back down to earth a little bit. Yep. Okay, regroup, because now we're in it for real, I think. I think 3 to 5 years is realistic for promotion. Now here's my other question.
Okay.
So, how do we feel? I've seen some discourse about this, obviously, over the years, ever since they took over Wrexham, right? How do we feel about these owners that obviously have the resources, that have the money to do so? I said, they've gotten promoted back to back to back only because they have the money. But here's the thing. I feel like they've taken the right approach about it.
Absolutely, they have.
Because it's not like they're buying whoever they want. No. They've very much done it the right way, where it's still very much, I guess, League 1, League 2, Championship quality players, right? It's not like you're going out and trying to get, I don't know, right? Something unreal, with all that money, right? Yep. Kind of similar to Newcastle, right? Sure, they've had that takeover, but they haven't necessarily gone out and splashed. Yeah. Well, they've splashed money, but not greedily in the sense of like, we're gonna buy, I don't know, Mbappe, right? Yeah. Who are their star players? Isak, Guimaraes, Joelinton. That's their core, but they make it work. They've done it the right way, right? Now we've seen them. They've won Carabao Cup, right? Yes, and a couple of weeks ago, that's, I think, the way you should do it. And I think Wrexham, I'm not opposed. I'm never opposed to big money takeovers. As long as they're done right. And I think Wrexham are doing it in the right way. So I think, again, Championship, they'll be there for a little while.
And I like how they've, sure, yeah, I do think so. A few years, but hey, I mean, Premier League is definitely not this dream anymore,
No.
this elusive thing.
Yeah.
It's realistic now.
Yeah.
People also say, oh, they just chose a random club and we're going to buy you and whatever. You know, if you watch the show, which I haven't watched completely, I'm not going to lie, but I've seen bits of it, and they were deliberate in understanding the club culture and understanding what the club means to the people.
That's exactly it, too.
And they
that
nailed
makes all the difference.
They nailed it.
And they show up.
Yes.
They're at the games. Yeah. They're there. You know, even though that's not, you know, where they're from, it's just they show up. They understand what it means.
Yes.
And just like you said, they did their research beautifully.
Yeah.
And look at the rewards they're reaping. Now they're giving an entire city this joy that they haven't felt in God knows how long.
Probably ever.
You know? Ever. Like, think about that.
Yeah.
They were in National League for so long, and it's so hard to escape because there's only one automatic promotion. And there's so many teams across so many different regions as well. It's like, it's a gauntlet.
It really is.
You know? So once you get to that point in any country, it's brutal to work your way up. And the ownership group, they've come in, they understood the mission, they understood what it takes, and they've invested themselves. They made Wrexham a part of them, if that makes sense. So, and now look at where they're at.
And you can't forget, they are a Welsh club.
They
Only
are.
two in the English system,
they are.
Swansea and Wrexham. So again,
Cardiff, no?
Cardiff as well.
Yeah.
My bad.
Cardiff.
3. Cardiff as well.
Yeah.
But you know,
it's one of the few.
Different. It's
one
different.
Of the few. Yeah, for
it's
sure.
different. So, hey, congratulations to them. They are going to be in the Premier League sooner rather than later. I would say, even if it's just for a year.
I do think as long as they reach it, I think that's all the fans care about.
Oh my goodness!
Similar to this year, Ipswich, for example. I think as long as they reach it,
they can't ask for more.
They can't ask for more.
They can't. They really can't. It's going to be incredible. Stay tuned for that. It won't be like Troy Deeney said. I was griping with you about that. He said they'll never reach it. I mean, come on.
That's unrealistic.
Unrealistic. They will be there. They really will. Of course, you spoke about it. Ipswich, Leicester, and Southampton all down with 4 games to go. All 3 clubs are down in the Premier League. 15-point difference to West Ham and 17.
What a gap.
Ouch. It was a terrible year for the clubs who came up. It's happened for a second time in a row.
Yeah. It's like 2 seasons back-to-back where the promoted clubs go straight back down.
And let's talk about the 2 teams that will be promoted automatically. Sheffield United and Leeds. Don't be surprised if Sheffield U go down. Leeds spent a couple years in the Premier League last time they were up. Maybe they can break
stay up.
This curse of the promoted teams.
Yeah, and it's just... Man,
it's gonna be tough.
It's always a bit disappointing just seeing the same teams go down, same teams go up, and then go straight back down. You know, it's just the gap is getting too much. I feel like in terms of just that one place, right? You look at where West Ham finished, and then who are below them?
Ipswich.
Yeah. Look at the gap difference.
15 points. Not able to compete.
You can't. You have to be on another level from the get go if you're a promoted side.
Yeah, you have to hit the
ground
running.
Hard.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's very, very hard. It's hard to find that recipe of success in terms of just like, hey, who do you bring in? Who are the right pieces for us, you know, that want to be here, right? Yeah. And then more often than not, it never works.
It's difficult.
Hard.
It's difficult. We'll see. Surely not 3 years in a row, though. Surely not. Maybe. We'll have to wait and see. But that about wraps up this edition of the NONA Sports Show. Patrick, thank you so much. That was a fun one. Remember, tryouts are coming up. USL 2 is coming up. The rest of the European leagues will finish up. And before you know it, like that, the Club World Cup is going to be right in our backyard.
Yes, it is.
How fun is that? How exciting is that? It's going to be special. From us, though, from NONA Studio, from all of our wonderful sponsors, that's it. Take care and see you next week.